Hey folks, Alex McMahon here of Evolved Nutritional Therapy. Today we're going to be continuing on in our series on why fat loss is more difficult for women. Part 4 today is going to be all about the hormone leptin. And leptin is easily one of the most important hormones to discuss when it comes to dieting and fat loss. And part of the reason for that is because leptin is actually a regulatory hormone that is secreted by your fat cells. It helps us to monitor and regulate our hormones, our metabolism, and then also our satiety. And your body uses leptin a lot like a car would use a dipstick to measure oil. However, instead of measuring oil, our body uses leptin to help us gauge how much body fat we have. Now, based on the amount of body fat that we have, that's going to tell our brain and our body how much energy that we should be taking in, so how much food we should be eating. And then one of the really important parts of it for dieting and fat loss is it also helps us to regulate how much energy we should be expending, the amount of calories that we're going to burn on a day-to-day basis. Now, how this all kind of ties in together is that body fat is actually a really good insurance policy, and it helps ensure that we have proper reproductive capabilities, especially for women. So when we get to really low levels of body fat, it tells our body that we could be in a potential famine. So we should, number one, downregulate the amount of hormones that we're making, specifically the sex hormones. We should downregulate the metabolic rate so we burn fewer calories to preserve the fat stores that we already have, and we should upregulate our satiety. So that means that we are going to have less of the sex hormones, we're going to burn fewer calories throughout the day, and you're going to feel more hungry and want to eat more often, even if you're eating the same volume of food. Now, those all are really bad things when it comes to trying to diet for fat loss. It's going to make it so you burn fewer calories and you're hungrier right off the bat. Now, another important thing to keep in mind is that even when women go into a caloric deficit and start to diet, their body actually causes a much quicker drop in leptin, and it drops to a larger degree than a man's will. And that's unfortunate because one of the things is, even if a woman is to fulfill that caloric deficit after she's created with her diet or exercise, what happens is her body will still drop leptin. So even, let's take for an example, if a woman was to go to the gym and she exercised for 300 calories. She burned off 300 calories lifting weights and going on the elliptical. Now, if she went home and she compensated those 300 calories by eating an extra 300 calories worth of food, the unfortunate fact is that her leptin levels will still drop, and they'll drop to a larger degree. And even if she fills that deficit with the correct amount of food, her leptin levels will still drop. Now, when her leptin levels drop, it will cause her to burn fewer calories at rest. It will cause her to burn fewer calories while exercising. And then also on top of that, it will send the signal to her brain that she needs to eat more food to replenish any kind of fat that was burned up during that cycle. Now, if you're interested in learning more about leptin, I've written a 3-part blog series on my website, and I'll include a link to that blog series below. And I also did a podcast on the subject as well. As always, I really appreciate you taking the time out of the day to watch this video. And stay tuned, as in video 5, we'll be discussing the menstrual cycle and how that impacts fat loss for women. Hey folks, I'd like to offer you a free limited time 30-minute phone strategy session with me. We'll discuss what your current health, fitness, and fat loss goals are, the roadblocks that are preventing you from getting the results you desire, how as a coach I can help support you and keep you accountable, and then the simple and sustainable steps and habits you can start incorporating today to achieve the results you desire and to be able to actually keep them. Go ahead and click on the link below in the description, and I look forward to chatting with you on the phone.